professor, physician, epidemiologist. I am Dr. Sri Banerjee. Hi, I'm Dr. Sri Banerjee, core faculty for the College of Health Sciences and Public Policy at Walden University. It is with great honor that I present here at the Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease conference this year. And this year we are presenting in this poster on racial differences in the interaction between cognitive function and hypertension. Now, I worked on this with my current doctoral student, Nathan DeShields, and I wanted to thank him for all of the work that he did. And so we decided to work on this because it was really important to not only understand cognitive decline and cognitive function, but understand all of the nuances and all of the potential risk factors that are associated with it. So as it turns out, not only is cognitive decline, not only is there a variety of ways to classify this based on whether it's mild cognitive impairment or a more severe form of dementia. So there's actually ways that you can classify this, and there's associated risk factors. One such risk factor, of course, cardiovascular disease, but specifically, how does hypertension kind of play a role in that? And what are the what are some of the associations between, for instance, hypertension and cognitive decline? Where does that fit in? These were some of the questions that we were trying to address. But then, in all of these ideas, an additional concept that was important for us to pinpoint early on was to understand how race played a role. And this is really important. This is key to understanding the association between hypertension and cognitive function and the variations that takes place. So, in summary, the idea is that the inheritance patterns and the way Alzheimer's and cognitive decline develops is not simple. There is a very complex interrelationship, and that is what we were trying to capture in this research study. So, of course, there had been already studies that had demonstrated the fact that socioeconomic disadvantage and also people living in disadvantaged communities, African American communities, Hispanic communities, had, due to greater stress from discrimination and racism, a higher propensity to develop cognitive decline. So these ideas we took and then formulated some research questions from a very robust, nationally representative data set, and that is known as the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. So what we did is we took this data set between the years 1999 and 2002, and then followed these individuals up to look at the linked mortality that is present at December of 2015, and looked for mortality outcomes that existed from that. And so what did we find? So there were of course disparities in percentages. For instance, so we initially looked at African Americans. So all of these findings are among African Americans. So among African American females, there is actually a higher percentage of cognitive dysfunction. Additionally, in terms of understanding how the effect was. So, what we found is that individuals that had both hypertension and experienced cognitive decline, these individuals experienced poorer outcomes than individuals who just experienced cognitive dysfunction alone. So, this is really important because this shows the importance of understanding not only Alzheimer's disease, cognitive dysfunction, but also understanding some of the comorbidities and hypertension that may be related. And in certain groups and in certain racial groups, this is actually more pronounced. And so, as it turns out, in African Americans, there were this effect, this differential effect of hypertension was present. But when we looked at the similar patterns in Caucasians, this was not actually present. So, in summary, the idea is that more screening, more involved screening in terms of hypertension is extremely important as it pertains to how cognitive dysfunction um, starts to develop, and um, types of screening needs to be targeted as well. So understanding that specific people in specific racial groups or ethnic groups uh, may have more likelihood of certain associations, then understanding how this could be used to create targeted interventions, targeted screening, and also targeted preventative measures. Thank you for listening.